Hey guys, Steve Donahoe here again from DC Sales Marketing, and I'm going to do this video in regard to a couple of comments that I have that when I'm actually doing videos, I'm actually using terminology that some people or newbies don't understand and what it really means. And one of the ones that I actually talk about a lot is the OTC, and it's actually in the finance for stocks and shares, but it's called over the counter, and that's what it actually means, over the counter. So I'm going to give you some information in regards to that, of what it actually is. So what does an OTC actually mean? And I want to give it to you in terms that people will understand and not be too in the box sort of thing that people gets over their head and they don't understand what's going on, whatever. But you can see it written down, but I'm going to read it anyway, just in case you can't see it properly. So OTC markets are electronic networks that allow two parties to trade with each other using a dealer broker as a middleman. They are known as dealer networks or markets, and in contrast, stock exchanges are auction markets. So a price for a stock is posted, the ask, and then investors make offers for it, bidding against each other. So companies that trade OTC are considered public, but they're unlisted. So what basically happens if on the major stock exchanges like the NYSE or the NASDAQ, if they get delisted, they get taken off that exchange, okay? And then the only option for them to be able to do is go over to what you call the OTC market, which is an actual dealer network that you can actually use to continue with that actual share and continue the stocks going in that. Now, it is openly bought and sold, just like the stock exchange, but it's just not listed on a major exchange. So these equities are subject to the rules and requirements that these exchanges impose on and the listed companies. No governing institution is watching them, in other words. So it can be a risky situation. It can be a good situation sometimes, because you can pick up what happens is a lot of the actual new companies that come in and trade under as a penny stock. Usually, if they're not proving themselves, they usually get delisted and then they get forced over to the OTC. But they can continue to be an actual penny stock without being delisted on the OTC. But if it starts getting in a position where it's really, really going down, it's not that they get delisted. They get what you call a pink slip, which puts them in a situation of declaring bankruptcy on the actual company itself. Now, you can't do that on the major stock exchange. So they delist it straight away, because you're not showing any profit and you're not showing anybody any, motivation to actually buy those because of what the stock exchange is showing. So they delist it and get off that and force them over to the OTC. So that's what an OTC basically is, okay? So over the counter is actually what it means. That's all it actually means, all right? Kind of changing it over and putting it over to a network of a private network that is able to be bought and sold through the OTC, but it is a lot more risky than actually going through the major stock exchanges. So what are the major OTC markets? So OTC Markets Group is an investor. You'll have access to this market depending on your broker. There's also the grey market, which we'll cover below. So there's OTC market groups, OTCQX, and, the lowest tier is a pink open market, which is what I'm talking about. You've got to be very, very careful of that. That if people go into that, there's a good chance that they're in very, very financial situation. Usually the penny stocks and all, but you could pick up a penny stock and this thing actually could take off. It's a gamble. It's like anything else, it's a gamble. The grey market, only broker-dealers can trade on the OTC market group. The grey market, sometimes called other OTC, is a catch-all category for any security that is considered over-the-counter, but not quoted by broker-dealers due to a lack of investor interest, lack of financial information, or lack of regulatory compliance. That's the grey market. So the question is it safe to buy OTC stocks? So OTC trading has had a shady reputation. Partly that's because of the basic way it operates. In contrast to the total transparency of the stock exchanges where prices are displayed for all to see, OTC is a buyer and seller secretly negotiating a price. The seller might offer the stock to one buyer for one price and to another buyer for another. So basically they can trade with each other and not be compliant to the big stock exchanges at the same price. They can actually bid and sell at different prices. So it's small wonder that OTC markets have been the site of scams and criminal activities. And dealing in penny stocks opens the door to illegal pump and dump schemes in which someone pumps a stock, then sells and dumps the stock after you and other investors buy, raising the price of the stock. Now, actually, this is happening on the stock exchange right now. There is a lot of actually Chinese companies that are doing this right now. And I can show you after which ones actually you can make a gain on by looking at it and seeing it. And what you call is they're running what you call a dark pool. Now, it's like an inside pool that big investors know about, and it's a kind of a secret that they work as corporations all together and they buy and sell through this actual pool. And they know before the actual market opens and whatever that they've hit it really, really hard. And the only way that you can tell if someone hit it pretty hard would be the next day, the next trading day. You could kind of see the difference in the trading. But in that period of time, what they do is that they'll either become in the bearish market and sell off really quickly. But what you usually see after a bearish market, it goes quickly to a bullish market, which means everybody is buying into and raising the actual price of the stock itself or the share. And the share goes up to a certain point, and then a pump and dump scheme is they pump into it, and then all of a sudden what they do is they sell it off because they've made such a profit on it. And you're talking about these companies that literally pennies on the dollar, they're making fortunes on. If it goes up 3% and they're putting $100 million, so they've almost made themselves $3 million just by doing that. So, you know, that's the way it works because they have the money that they can continue to play this game, and they play this game pump and dump schemes, and this is what they do, pump and dump, pump and dump. And you can actually see these happening because you see them actually start to surge really quickly and they go up to a certain point, and then you see them dramatically reduce again and they come back down. And I'll show you a couple after of what I'm talking about and what I've actually had problems with myself because I've actually bought these pump and dump shares and I'm not making anything out of them. I'm actually losing on them because they only go up to a certain point and we can't make enough money and profit on it, and then they'll drop and then I start losing on them. This is what actually happened with my portfolio, unfortunately, because I didn't know what was going on, and I bought what you call IPOs. So what's an IPO? And this is another question someone actually asked me, what it is. Initial public offering. So what that basically means is as soon as a company actually goes into the shares and gets their shares and they go public and they give the people a chance, like a pre sort of entry point as an IPO to get in quickly. And they usually give the shares at a certain amount of time. And they give it to you as an amount they started off as, okay? So when they started off as the IPO, the actual initial public offering, let's say maybe it was $10 a share, then they'll allow you to buy so many shares of it. They usually give you a certain amount. So it goes into a pool and you can't buy more than the other. They share the whole pool, which brings their company, gives them financial stability because now they're gone public so they can use people's money to be able to continue to keep the company going. And that's basically what an IPO is. Short term, layman terms, IPO, initial public offering. It just opens up and they give you the share at the price that you can buy at the allocated share amount that they will actually give you. That you can actually go minimum of maybe even 5 shares, or they might even offer up to 10,000 shares, but usually there's a cap on it. Okay. What is the problem with IPOs? Now, the reason my actual portfolio is so much in the red is because I initially started on IPOs and I didn't really know a lot about it. I was told about it. If you got in Uber when the IPO came out and they put it on the public straight away and you were able to get into Uber, you could have made yourself a millionaire on about $10,000. You could have been a millionaire. That's how quick it went up. Now, the actual shares are way down on it. So you'd be losing all. So you'd have to have sold your profit and whatever, and maybe just keep your investment of what you put into it, Risky, very risky. And the thing is, what happens is I actually got in some of these IPOs, and the application that I use in my portfolio will allow me to buy the IPOs through there. And that's what I was doing. And I was going crazy buying all these IPOs and thinking that we're going to have a surge takeoff. And I was so happy because the first IPO that I actually purchased went up 300%. And I'm laughing there and watching that thing soaring all day long, and then I took my profit and that was it, and I kept my investment in there, but then it went down and it drastically went down. So then I went into other IPOs and I did the same thing and I bought them. Well, they didn't even take off. They actually went down. So now, because of doing that, my portfolio is big time in the red because of it. So that's what I caused that to myself. By buying these IPOs, I put myself in the red, which is okay because I'm trying to show, is my portfolio able to sustain itself or completely go bankrupt? See, there's one thing in stocks and shares, you won't go completely bankrupt unless they get delisted and then they go bankrupt. Then you lose all your stock and shares. Not every company that you invest in is going to go bankrupt on you. So what you're basically doing is looking for something that is going to possibly take off and surge. Now, the ones, unfortunately, at the moment still have not done it, but they're starting to make their moves. But I'm going to show you my actual portfolio, which is pretty darn much gone in the red right now. And someone asked me that as well and said, why haven't you showed your portfolio? Did you lose everything? No, I didn't lose everything, but I tell you what, I'm down 40% on it, and kind of scary when you see something like that happening. I must admit. So just bear with me for a minute. And what I'll try to do is get in my portfolio for that. But we'll see what happens. We can't guarantee it's going to show it or not. But I have to go into another application here in order for it to be shown, because it's actually a platform application on my computer, which basically means I have to start streaming like I'm actually playing a game. Now, I don't know if you can see this, what I'm doing or not, because it's an actual outside platform, so you probably can't. So I'll see if I can run it in a minute. Just bear with me for a minute. Can't guarantee if this is going to work or not, because it might shut me off and I might have to come back in with another recording. But we'll see what happens here. Because I'm going to have to go out of this window here and go into a window capture, into a game capture from window capture. So we'll see if it works or not. Alright, so there it is there. And as yet, it hasn't worked. So I think the window capture, I have to stop it. So we're going to dump the window capture, and there you'll see now, you should see my portfolio on this, and there it is there. Okay, so now if you see my portfolio, you'll actually see, if I can get that a bit bigger so you can see it. I have to do it through the app, I think. All right, let's see if that works. Oh, it went away. That was not a good idea. I think I took it out of the viewing area. Bear with me from that. Things have gone a little bit hayward. Wayward. I don't know where it's gone to. My screen is not showing it at the moment. There it is there, but it just doesn't seem to stay there for some reason. Alright. So there it is there. Unfortunately, I can't get it any bigger. I'll see if I can get that move so you can see it better. Okay. Gives it a little bit better from my actual portfolio. Can you see that? Hopefully you can actually see that now. Okay, so you'll see my balance is actually $3,313. I'm actually in profit today at $80. But look in the red. If you can see the red, and we'll try to move that so you can actually see the red. And the red is minus $2,111. We're not going to worry about the cents on it. So my portfolio all up should be almost $5,500 or $5,400, and it's actually $3,314. Now, the reason being in showing you this is that, again, we're trying to see if we can get ourselves out of it, and there's a good possibility this can happen if we get the right run. But that will require the shares that I have to take off. And one of the shares that I've gone heavy into, in order for that to happen, requires this share to take off. And if it doesn't take off, then I'm in trouble. And I'll look on the ones that actually profit. AMRS is actually making a profit. Oh, we lost it again. Why is it doing that? It keeps doing it on me. Where'd it go? Huh. So, in order for that to continue, I have to look on here. And that should see it better. It's now even causing problems there by making that large. I'm not having much luck here. Anyway, we'll see if we can get that back down to a viewing area. Where'd you go? That's what happens when you do things live. It doesn't want to play around right. Huh. I'll move this back over here. Where are you going? Not that much luck here. Oh, the actual app just shut down on me. Believe it or not. Maybe that was a good thing. Maybe I'll see it better now. Okay. And we're going to play around that and find the net count value on it. Oh, we can't do that. All right, we'll have to go back